Today, let's continue with a horror slasher movie set deep in the jungle, Savage Star. This film premiered in 2024. Alright, enough chit-chat, let's dive into the story. It all begins in the dense jungle, where a murderer wanders like a lost soul. Suddenly, he hears a car horn. Following the sound, he arrives at an old house, but just as he approaches the house, the leader's son quickly drives away. With no one else around, the killer decides to target the old man inside. Soon, the killer enters the house, and while searching for his prey, the old man returns after seeing off his son. Shocked by the killer's grotesque appearance, the old man tries to shoot him with a hunting rifle. However, his aim falters, merely grazing the killer's shoulder. Unharmed, the butcher swiftly disarms the old man. Terrified, the man runs into the jungle for safety, but unfortunately, he steps onto a trap and is unable to escape. The killer twists his neck, ending his life. Afterward, the murderer notices a group of campers nearby taking photos around a campfire. Watching from the shadows, he doesn't attack immediately, but plans to eliminate them one by one. After taking pictures, the group returns to the old jungle house. Seeing lights inside, the killer walks up to the house and picks a saw from the shed as his weapon. Meanwhile, a chubby man tells his companion that he wants to go back to a gas station they visited earlier in the afternoon, as he's infatuated with the woman who refueled their car. His friend calls him crazy since the gas station is a 2-hour hike away. Undeterred, he bids farewell and leaves, while the woman simply ignores him, heading back indoors. However, as the chubby man stops to relieve himself, he is unaware that the killer has appeared behind him. Alright, my brother. After killing the chubby man, the butcher drags the body to the shed and collects a mask and an iron hook. The next morning, Bella and Hannah are bathing by a river. Watching from afar, the killer dives into the water too. At this moment, Bella tells Hannah that she's afraid of snakes in the water and doesn't plan to swim. Instead, she'll wait nearby and enjoy the fresh air in the forest. She also plans to do some aerobics on the hill and asks her friend to meet her there after bathing. Bella leaves, unaware that not long after, the killer drags Hannah underwater. After eliminating Hannah, the villain marches onto Bella. Seeing her engrossed in her workout, he approaches silently. Bella initially believes it's Hannah, but to her horror, she realizes it's the masked Slayer. Seeing the killer, Bella tries to escape but finds herself cornered with a cliff behind her. With nowhere left to go, the murderer strikes her abdomen with an iron hook, but as she's still alive, he finishes her by hooking her head and holding her back. After disposing of Bella's body by throwing it off the cliff, the killer grabs an axe from a nearby post. Seeking more prey, he heads to the group's car and sets the horn off with a wooden stick. With this act done, the killer moves to the back of the house. Hearing the noise, Jack rushes to the car, cursing and scolding, thinking it's some prankster. But he doesn't realize that the killer is already lurking by the car. As someone takes aim to shoot him, the killer shifts his focus immediately. Luckily, Jimmy lands a shot, knocking the murderer down. Thinking he's incapacitated, Jimmy helps his companion, intending to flee. Unexpectedly, the killer, unharmed where it mattered, springs back up and sinks his axe into Jimmy's skull. Even with an injured leg, Jack desperately tries to crawl away, but it's all in vain. The killer picks up a rock and ends his life. Kindly cease this. Just then, Mia and her boyfriend return to the house and notice blood everywhere near the door. Out of curiosity, they decide to investigate. Unbeknownst to them, the killer hears their motorcycle engine roaring. Thankfully, Mia manages to hide in time, barely escaping danger. Seeing how ruthless the killer is, she quickly jumps on the bike with her boyfriend. Reacting swiftly, the two manage to drive off to safety. That night, Officer Leah and her team arrive at the shed, discovering an actual corpse inside. Immediately, the officers begin a perimeter search, but what they don't expect is the killer ambushing them. Wasting no time, the murderer attacks with his iron hook. Fortunately, one officer reacts quickly, shooting the killer and seemingly bringing him down. With the threat neutralized, the officers instruct Nia to grab chains to bind him, fearing he might rise again. However, before they can finish their discussion, the killer suddenly wakes and takes out another officer. Terrified, Nia flees with her boyfriend, leaving behind the lifeless body of their fellow officer. The killer then twists the officer's limbs mercilessly. He drags the officer's body into a nearby sawmill and uses the machinery to dismember it completely.